In every man's life there comes a silence so heavy, it feels like the world itself has stopped speaking. She is gone. The laughter, the touch, the warmth, all vanished into the wind. What remains is the noise within your own mind. 1,000 memories replayed, 1,000 questions unanswered. This is where most men lose themselves. They reach out, they chase, they beg for closure that never comes. But the Stoic, he does not beg. He stands still in the storm and learns to command it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The silence after she leaves is not a punishment. It is your initiation. Every impulse will tell you to break it, to send the message, to seek reassurance, to fill the emptiness. But silence is not absence. It is transformation. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. You imagine her with someone else. You imagine the laughter, the new life, the world that continues without you. Yet none of it exists, except in your mind. The Stoic man learns to separate what is imagined from what is real. He learns to breathe without her name on his lips, to stand without her validation. This is the meaning of no contact, not strategy, but strength. The silence you fear is the forge where your character is made. When you do not chase, you reclaim the energy you once gave away freely. When you do not speak, you begin to hear your true voice again. Every message unsent is an act of power. Every moment of restraint is an act of freedom. No man is free who is not master of himself. And mastery begins here, in the quiet, in the waiting, in the stillness that feels unbearable. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not confuse stillness for surrender. For a man who can remain composed in solitude is a man who cannot be broken in battle. This is how you reclaim your power, not by shouting but by whispering to your soul, I will not chase. I will not fold. I will rise. The silence is not empty. It is sacred, for in silence you stop waiting for her to return and begin the journey of returning to yourself. The silence has done its work. From the ashes of absence, something begins to stir, not desperation, but direction. There comes a day when the pain no longer screams. It whispers, and you realize that her leaving was not your ending. It was your unveiling. For what greater victory can there be than this, to lose everything and find yourself? The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. During no contact, every thought paints the man you are becoming. If you think weakness, you will crumble. But if you think strength, discipline, calm, and creation, you will rise as something unrecognizable. Most men wait for her return. The Stoic man builds a life so radiant she would not recognize the one who once begged for her time. Transformation is not about revenge. It is not a performance. It is a pilgrimage. In silence he reads, he learns, he rebuilds the fortress of body and mind. The world begins to notice. A different energy surrounds him now. His posture is firm, his eyes still. The chaos that once ruled his heart has become fuel for creation. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the essence of rebirth, not waiting, but working. The high-value man does not announce his return. He simply appears renewed. You see, she is not drawn to the man who wants her back. She is drawn to the man who no longer needs her back. Because true power is quiet. It doesn't beg, it radiates. The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. So live now. Don't rebuild your strength to prove her wrong. Rebuild it to prove yourself right. Let your achievements become whispers that travel farther than your words ever could. Let your progress speak in the language of presence. When she hears of you again, let her hear of a man reborn, not angry, not bitter, but unshakable. She left a boy who sought love. But what stands now is a man who is love, disciplined, directed, divine. The goal is not to make her return, it is to make yourself impossible to leave. The reemergence is complete. The man who fell is gone. In his place stands one who no longer reacts to loss, but commands his destiny. The world will always demand your reaction. It will provoke you, test you, and tempt you to lose control. But the Stoic man, he does not react. He responds. He knows that emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. He listens, but he does not obey. And this, my friend, is the beginning of detachment. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The same truth applies to love, to loss, to her absence. It is not her leaving that hurts. It is the meaning you have attached to it. You imagine permanence in something that was always fleeting. You mistook companionship for completion. But the Stoic knows no one completes him. He was born complete. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It is the ability to care deeply while remaining unbroken if things fall apart. He who is brave is free. The brave man allows himself to feel, but never to depend. He gives love freely, but he never surrenders his peace. When she left, you thought you lost her. But what you truly lost was your illusion of control. And that loss, that brutal, sacred loss, is your freedom. The Stoic does not cling to outcomes. He gives his best to the moment and lets fate decide the rest. Because the man who chases outcomes becomes a slave to them, but the man who releases them becomes unshakable. When you detach, something beautiful happens. The world starts to orbit your calm. She begins to feel it too. Not your indifference, but your equilibrium. The peace of a man who cannot be swayed by her presence or absence. How can he be so calm, so composed? And that question becomes curiosity. Curiosity becomes attraction. But here is the truth the Stoic understands. Detachment is not a tactic to bring her back. It is a transformation that makes you no longer need her to. The high-value man is not the loudest in the room. He is the stillest. For silence commands more gravity than noise. Peace is more seductive than chaos. And detachment, true detachment, is not escape. It is mastery. There comes a moment in every man's journey when he realizes strength was never about how loud he roared, but how still he stood. To rebuild your masculine frame after loss is not to harden your heart. It is to strengthen your spirit. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. You see, the Stoics did not chase validation. They built virtue, the kind of inner power that speaks without needing to shout. The modern world confuses masculinity with aggression. But true masculinity and Stoic masculinity is his composure in motion. It is a man who does not crumble when tested, who does not beg when rejected, who does not lose himself when desired. This frame, this unshakable center, is not built in comfort. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching. No man is free who is not master of himself, and mastery requires structure. Discipline is the skeleton of the masculine frame. You must command your habits before you can command your life. Rise early. Train your body. Educate your mind. Guard your attention as you would guard a city's gates. The Stoic man does not seek to control others. He seeks to control himself. Leadership is not dominance, it is direction. It is the calm in chaos, the order in disorder. A woman does not follow the man who demands power. She follows the man who radiates it. The more you master yourself, the less you need to prove anything. And that calm confidence, that quiet certainty, is the true essence of attraction. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Every trial you face now, every moment of solitude, every test of patience, is polishing your soul into something unbreakable. Rebuilding your masculine frame means remembering who you were before the world taught you to doubt yourself. You are not meant to chase validation. You are meant to embody value. Stand upright, speak less, listen deeply, act deliberately, be decisive, not impulsive, be kind, not weak, be fearless, not reckless. When you master your emotions, you become immovable. When you master your habits, you become unstoppable. And when you master your mind, you become unforgettable. For the Stoic man's frame is not built for the eyes of others. It is built for the weight of destiny. There was a time when he waited for her return. Now he simply waits for the sunrise. For the man who has mastered silence, rebuilt his frame, and conquered himself. There is nothing left to chase, only life left to live. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions, and so he has turned his ambition inward. Not to possess another, but to possess peace. The woman may return, perhaps with apologies, perhaps with tears, but the emperor no longer measures his life by her presence. The Stoics called it ataraxia, the stillness of a mind that nothing can disturb. He feels love again, yes, but this time without attachment. He feels desire again, yes, but this time without dependence. And in that equilibrium he becomes magnetic. No man is free who is not master of himself. Freedom is not the absence of love, it is the absence of need. When she looks upon him now, she does not see the man who begged, who doubted, who waited. She sees the calm of a soul ungoverned by emotion, the rare serenity of a man who answers to no one's validation. He does not seek revenge, he seeks virtue. He does not desire to win her back, he desires to live rightly. And paradoxically, that is why she returns. because nothing draws a heart faster than the gravity of a man who has ceased to need it. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. The emperor has won that war, not against her, but against the weakness within himself. He walks as all men should, grounded, grateful, and free. For the return of the emperor is not a triumphant march. It is a quiet awakening. He no longer asks, "Will she come back?" He asks instead, "Am I still walking in virtue?" And in that question lies his kingdom. The Stoic understands that all endings are beginnings wearing different faces. She may return or she may not. It no longer matters, because the greatest reunion is not with her. It is with your own power. When you stop seeking to prove your worth, you become it. When you release what you cannot control, you rise above it. And when you choose silence over reaction, patience over pursuit, virtue over vanity, you become untouchable. The emperor returns not to reclaim what was lost, but to remind the world that he was never defeated. And so he lets her go, not in anger, but in peace, because a man who has conquered himself never loses again.